Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to one and all present for today's webinar. Myself, Architect Snehal Kesari, and I am your today's moderator. On behalf of AAAD, once again I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all the respected dignitaries and everyone present for today's session. We are indeed delighted to have Architect Rajkumar BKM, Associate Principal Designer, the G and the G Space Bangalore, our today's speaker, to present his ideas regarding business development in architecture. Welcome, sir. I would like to make a couple of announcements to the participants. All the participants are requested to mute their audio and switch off videos to have uninterrupted session. If you have any questions during the presentation, you can write them into the chat box and we will take them at the end of the session. I am honored to have the privilege to introduce our guest speaker, Architect Rajkumar BKM, is Associate Principal Designer, the G and the G Space Bangalore, with over 17 years of experience in the field of master and space planning, interior design and architecture. Sir is aiming to provide functionally successful design vocabulary in hospitality design. He has handled and completed about 70 projects ranging from luxury and business hospitality, industrial, corporate and residential architecture and interior design works. He has pursued BA from THRO College of Engineering, India, and Masters of Art in Interior Design from University of Edinburgh, UK. Sir is also associated with various colleges in and around Bangalore, Aditya Academy of Architecture and Design, Bangalore, Sasi School of Creative Studies, THRO College of Engineering, Acharya School of Architecture, Muhammad Satak School of Architecture, to name the few, as visiting faculty, guest lecturer, and design chair. After having worked with Sir for more than a year, I can definitely say Sir is very professional teacher with qualities of a good communicator, trainer, and proficient advisor. He is a highly skilled teacher and always kept himself updated with new changes in the education field. He has contributed a lot to our college in the field of education and other works through his dedicated support and creative mind. With immense knowledge of architecture and his experience, he is always looking to provide better to the students and the society. With that, I kindly request him to take over the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sneha. Thanks for a brief introduction, very detailed introduction. So I'll straight away start my session. So 1 second, just sharing the screen. So this brief about my company, it's called the G, and the G stands for the guard. So it's nothing very, different. It's a guard, or to be precisely, it is Govinda. So that's my company name. So as Snehal said, I had done my Bachelor of Architecture from THRO College of Engineering, Madurai. That's in 96, 2001 batch here. And I done my Masters from Interior Design from University of Edinburgh. University of Edinburgh is about 500 years old institute. And about 9 years I spent in project management consultancy. And about 11 years I done in all the various designs, especially in hospitality and food industry. So as an architect, I handle about 800 buildings and around 150 buildings here done on our own. So this is brief about me. So straight away to go to the point, that is the topic. We are going to discuss about business development in architecture. Yeah, it's change. So what does it mean by saying say business development in architecture? What way it is different from doing a business development in other field, or what do you say, FMCG? What's the difference? So many things we're going to see in this session now. So end of the session, you will see why business development is must in architecture. If you work without business development, if you wait for the client to come on their own, what will happen? Or what way the approach should be, and what's the difference between materialistic approach to a human-centric approach? So why it is so important in architecture, and what way we have to go ahead. Then how do you get more? End of the day, as a business person, even though we are professional, we are there in the business as an entrepreneur to get more. So how do you get more from what is the market? How do you get more business? How do you get more projects? So that we are going to, you'll get an answer in that session. And also you'll get how do you build and develop our practice. So today we are about 3. So tomorrow we're going to be 4. We are end of say about this next decade, you must be about 15. So how do you grow in your scale? Not only making big projects or not only making what is say a size of number of projects. So how do you really build it and what's the system you have to adopt? So all these things you will get the answer in this section. Okay, so next point is screen sheet. I think it's not changing for me. Yep. So where the business development starts in architecture. So I can divide this into 2 segments. That is, one is your own practice you're going to change. I mean, so you're going to develop your business. The other one is under an organization. Organization, you may be working under SOBA. I may be working under what do you say, a different architecture firm like RSP. So what way it makes a difference between working under an organization as a business development and doing for your own. So when you working under an organization, if you're going to fail in your business development, it is only you fail. The organization doesn't get suffered too much because there is parallelly they will have so many people to work for their business development. But also you will have bosses, so they will guide you. Only is accountability it counts here. So if you don't do, you will not get the incentive. You may not what do you say get next project. That's the only thing ends there, and you'll have a lot of flexible arrangements there. But whereas if come to the own practice, it's very, very stringent because if you fail in business development in your own practice, your organization totally fails. It's not only you failing in your employees, their families, your family, and vice versa. Everybody going to fail it. So it is more very, very important in your own practice to do a business development rather than doing under an organization. Okay, what is silent features in the own practice? You are the boss. So as an entrepreneur, you are the boss of your practice. It can be a 2-person team, it can be a 15-person, it can be a 1,500-person team. Still, you are the boss. And here, apart from accountability, what you're going to get under organization, here you have the ownership. So that makes a much important and much critical what is a segment of doing a business development in our own practice. Also, the segments is very, very stringent. If you don't get a project next week, then the next week you will not have work. So it's very, very stringent. It's not you can take from your other team, you start working. That is not going to happen in this case. If you don't have a project, you don't work. So today, predominantly, we are going to speak about own practice business development in this session. So the first question is when you're doing, or if you as a student, if you come out, final year students, or first 2 years, you'll get some questions. What is the first question you get? How do I get my first project? That is one question you'll get it. The second question, how do I get more projects? This is more precisely for a architect for at least 5 years or 6 years experience. How do I get more projects? So these are 2 questions in business development you'll get it. How are you going to get a project or how are you going to go to more projects? So the simple answer is I'll put a cross questions to all of you. So why do you need a project? So as an architect, why do you need a project? So the answer comes from here. The essence and approach of this one is we study architecture to design. I hope nobody will argue with me because I'm a staff, I'm a consultant and so many things. But end of the day, we study architecture to only design. But what are you going to design? It's not, I don't say it's right to say that I am doing a project and my client is the owner. So we are not there for the project. We are there for the client. So the essence in architecture business development as well as the project segment is the essence of the our work is we are working for the client and that is he is replacing for his project. So our approach in architecture has to be human centric. So then only it makes a more repercussion on the client mind that yes, he is fit for me. He doesn't feel he's fit for the project. He fits fit for me. So next project or my friend's project or my brother's project, he always thinks about you. So your approach has to be it's a human centric. It's a human centric. I mean to say, sometimes it can be organization project as well. So for the organization, you have to think much. We have to think about standing in their shoe and think. So the client will feel much better about you. So we need to acquire clients rather getting a project. So in business development architecture, you say I got about 10 clients in this month. Each client may have one project totally different. But you say 10 clients you're getting. The human approach makes much fruitful in terms of business development architecture. So architecture business development is totally different from other segment. It is not on marketing. So architecture business development is not marketing. Ethically, we can't, as a professional, not only we, a lawyer, a doctor, or what do you say, company secretary or an auditor, they cannot publish or advertise their work in the segment, because the work has to speak rather they speak. So I do a building. The building has to speak about me rather. I'm going to say, see, this building I done so beautiful. It has so many rooms. That should not be the case. The building has to speak about you. The building should say, yes, this was designed by architect Rajkumar. This has designed by architect Ar.Raj. So the building has to speak. Okay, the building will speak to whom, or who will speak about the building? Okay, the building will speak only the person who is seeing the building. So beyond that, who is going to speak about the building and with whom they're going to speak? So these two questions, if you answer, then your business development is much easier, because the building cannot move. Unfortunately, buildings are fixed asset, so it cannot move everywhere. At the most, it can go as a photograph, but the building as a feel, it cannot move anywhere. So somebody is there between to speak to your prospective client and about your building. There will be a person between. So what do you call them? We call them a reference or source of contact. So when you're developing more people to get you projects, so you have to get a source of contact. So they have to be much educated and updated about your projects and what are your achievements in your professional life. Those to be told to them. He can be a friend, he can be your neighbor, he can be your your colleague, or he can be your brother's colleague, or anybody. He can be anybody. He can be an Obama as well. Doesn't matter. But the person who is going to talk about your project when there is a need, he has to be educated and updated always. So we have to target the reference and source of contact. You just take your page. If you're coming out of college, the final year students, you just take a page of, you need about 5 projects, you take a paper and start writing, say, this many people who has a lot of contact in society. So they can talk about my first, thesis. They can speak about my academic project. So they can make me project. So those kind of people first list them and go and meet them. You don't ask them project. You just go and meet them. Say, sir, I have finished my architecture, so I'm very happy now to show this and just coming and meeting for a courtesy call. Go and meet them. So they are the people who are going to get the project for you. Okay, again, one more point. Why architecture's business development is totally different from other? Because it's all about VCP. It is visibility. The more visible you are to the society or to the people who are going to give the project, so the more you are going to be felt as a credible person, the more you are going to get more projects. That is the profitability. So VCPT, that is the VCP you're going to get from whom? So it is not meaning being a celebrity. Visibility means I'm going to be a, Aishwarya Rai Bachchan, or I'm going to be Abhishek Bachchan. No, that is not the thing I'm coming to say here. So it's about building relationship. It's a structured way of building a relationship. How do you build a relationship, and how it is going to help you when the need arises, and the relationship has to speak about you and your project, your credentials when there is a need. So the building relationship is much important in business development and architecture. So you can't market your product, but of course you can develop a lot of relationships. So how do you build relationships? So simple steps. I mean, you might have seen once you come out of the college, whatever I'm talking today, if you ask me to sit in, don't sit in home, you'll get irritated when after the college. But today, don't even sit home. So once you go out of college, don't sit in home. Just go around, meet people, and helping hand wherever there's a need. It can be a through Rotary, it can be through Lions Club or something. Always lend a helping hand and join networking groups. The groups can be a professional networking or social networking. You join a lot of groups and educate, update yourself, because you have to be up to date. Today, I don't know anything about SketchUp. I don't know anything about Avira or some other software, Revit. But still, I'm struggling today because without these things, a bigger project doesn't come. So you have to update yourself. So that is very important in business development. If you go away from the technology, also is going to be a big issue. And document every call. This is one point. When there is a call comes from a prospective clients or an inquiry, or if you meet somebody there, say in a marriage, you met somebody, he says, sir, oh, you're an architect, great. Why don't you design my farmhouse? I'm going to start maybe in 3 months. So the main point is the person who has spoken to you in the context you have to remember, because he may forget whom he met and what you've done, he may forget. But the context also you have to keep in mind, and you have to document it. So in class also, I tell all the students, documentation is much important in designing. So documentation you have to keep as a diary, and you have to say, okay, this person I met today, and he said after 3 months he's going to start. Give a buzz after 3 months. So, but the documentation is not there, you're not going to do the call. So unless the call is made, the client is not going to remember you. So here it is not marketing, it is just about say reminding them or it's helping him. So he is maybe looking for a good architect for his project. But by the time when the need is there, if you go and mash that, fill in the blanks, definitely the project clicks. So these are all small steps are very small nuances. If you start doing it as a structured way, it will help in the long run. And value even smallest person you meet. Many times we used to see a security, you take it a security, or if you're going working in a company, we're going to meet a next contractor's aide, contractor's sorry say subordinate. So you may see he's just a site engineer. Don't say anybody with a smaller value. So you have to give the value to them. So that makes you help, because that engineer may take you, sir, why don't you do design? We are doing one more project that client wants someone are designing. So the existing architect is very busy. Why don't you do help? So value every small person you're going to meet. So not only as an engineer, in your street, you see somebody, if you see somebody in a what do you say, a festival, wherever you see people, please give a value to them and listen to them. You will get some other thing from them. So be somewhere. That's simple what I'm telling about building relationships. Be somewhere. Don't be in one place. Always be in somewhere. In a week, at least you see at least 7 places. You'll try to meet at least 7 new people. So every day, new person meeting is not a big deal. But that's what the relationship builds. So your contact should be at least a 4,000, 5,000 contacts should be there. Or 4,000 will not give you business. But out of it, 40 gives this big thing. But you have only 40 contacts. Not even 0.4 will give you a business. So building relationships much important in architecture to develop your business. So relationship to inquiry. The moment you build the relationship, is it going to give a deal? Yeah. Is the inquiry is must for before going a deal? Yes, the inquiry is must. Because what does it mean by inquiry? Inquiry is something where it may happen, it may not happen. The probability, the probable projects, or probable you are maybe the probable architect. So they may consider about 4 or 5 architects and maybe a probable one. But unless the inquiry is there, the deal is not going to happen. And always grasp the inquiry, not the deal. The inquiry, you have to grasp it. There is an inquiry, but definitely you have to grasp it. You don't say this may happen, this may not happen. Even if it is, what do you say, very minimal probability of the getting into the deal. Please give respect to the inquiry, because the probability law of average will speak later. But that gives say out of 100 inquiries, you may close 1 deal today. I may close 10 deal today. Or a senior person of say Le Corbusier level, if a client goes an inquiry with Le Corbusier, definitely he's going to give the business to me. But if a clients come to Rajkumar, he may give out of 10 clients, only about 3 may give or 7 may go to somebody else. As a fresher, a client comes to you, out of 10 clients, only 1 may give, because the average, what do you say? It differs, depends on your age and your caliber and everything. So unless the inquiry is there, the deal is not going to come, because you always look for the deal, but you'll forget about the inquiry. So inquiry from the relationship, what inquiry comes, you have to grasp it. How small doesn't matter, you have to grasp it. Okay, how to close from inquiry to deal? Okay, we are saying the relationship to inquiry now. How to close the inquiry to the deal? You have to solve the issues, because the inquiry is something a client gives an issue of. Say I have a site which has a total topography of about 30 feet difference, which is about say 40 feet or 50 feet distance. How do you design a building? So you say, sir, give me some time. Maybe tomorrow I'll come back to you with a solution. So solve the issue. Rather, so I already designed a house that fits here. No, it doesn't work. So you have to give the solution to the particular inquiry. And the client may not call you immediately next day. So you have to keep in touch with him. So remember, the successful architects today, they found much easier to deal with the client during the corona and other situation, where clients are very free and they're idling a lot, and they're very free to take the decisions of pending projects. So successful people keeps in touch and they utilize the situation. So today I say I'm very busy, mean they have to be busy, and we have to go and meet the people every now and then. It may be not pestering himself tomorrow, you have to keep in touch. You have to say, how are you? After some time, maybe 3 months later, how are you? So how is your health? So like this, you keep in touch. So definitely the inquiry to deal happens very easy. So the deal closing, and after the deal, okay, you got an inquiry, it is closing, almost we are going to close the deal. But is it closed? Still not. Because the closing of a deal is really an art. So always I feel when you go to close a deal, means it's not confident that it's not finally that you're going to sign the contract today, but it may happen. That time don't talk to business. You talk nonsense. You talk to the client only nonsense thing. And that is a sense which doesn't relate to the project, but sensibly you talk something nonsense. If client says Rahul Gandhi is best, you say yes. You don't say and talk about Modi. So It's like this, if a client, you have to talk in his sense and with something which is not related to your project, that is called, I say, nonsense. Okay, so a client should start after speaking everything. You had a coffee, sir, coffee, everything happens. Then he may offer you coffee, or you may offer him coffee in your office. Everything is okay. Then client himself will start, sir, can we start the project? We discuss, how are you free now? Can we go tomorrow? Go to site tomorrow? The client will start. ಸೊ ಸರ್ ನಿಮ್ದು ಪಿ ಒ ನಾನು ನಾಳೆ ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾಳೆ ಇದ್ದ ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಕ್ಲೈಂಟೇ ಕೇಳಬೇಕು. ಸರ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಫೀಸ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬರಬೇಕು, ಈಗ ಇದು ಕಣ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಹಳದ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಇದೇನು ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಡಿ. ಸೊ ದ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಟೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಹಿಸ್ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ದ ಡೀಲ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಲೈಕ್, ಸರ್ ನಾಳೆ ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆಫೀಸ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಶುರು ಮಾಡಬಾರಲ್ಲ. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಗೋ ಆನ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್, ಇಲ್ ಸೇ, ಸರ್ ಬೇಡ, ನಾನು ಒಂದು ವಾರ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ ಅಂತಾರೆ. So the same thing I'll always say, if you go and speak something which is not related to your project when going for a deal closing, definitely the deal closes. Because this irony of business development. I've seen most of the project closes like this only. So if I close 5 projects out of 5, almost all the 5 are like this only, it gets closed. So we should not ask. The client has to ask you, why don't you take my project? So the same thing tells about our architecture, that the client has to come to you rather you go to the client. Okay, so there is one analogy I'm going to discuss about now, the startups and the experience. Experience, I mean to say, not beyond 15 years. Beyond 15 years, they'll have their own set of business development tactics. But I'm talking only about 15 to 16 years from your fresher. So freshers, you are looking for first project, whereas experienced person looking for many projects. So you can see a discrete difference between these two, but that makes a big difference in approach of business development. In startup, the stride doesn't matter. A client comes and say, why don't you design my kitchen? You should do it. But as a experienced architect, he comes and, why don't you do my design? I might say my kitchen. You should say no. Because site does matter. Instead of spending one kitchen, you may do a full house, you may be missing that opportunity, because you need more bigger projects as an experienced person. If here in startup, the survival is important. Whereas in experience, the growth is important. Survival means whatever comes, you have to do it. In growth means you have to see your growth, whether the project adds value to your office, add value to your purse, add values to your portfolio. That makes more important than taking the project itself. So to any extent you can go, but in case of startup, but in experience case, you have to go for a definite extent. We have to go only this level. I can't go beyond it. You have to be very clear about it. In case of startup, you should be always ready to say yes. In case of experience architecture, you should say always no. So idu nan kaile agalla, chumba chikkadu, berevaru maadi illa, idu nam scope alli baralla, nanu idu maadilla, hospital namge baralla, ನಾವು ಇದು ಗೋಶಾಲ ಬರಲ್ಲ, ನಮಗೆ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಅನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ಅಪ್, he may come to only for that scale. You always should be ready to say yes. And startup is like calf run. You know, a calf runs at least about half a kilometer in no time, but a cow walks. So experienced architects always, he walks very slow and very steady, but he goes very long. But whereas calf gets, exhausted. But unless a startup runs like a calf, he will not be able to survive there. Okay, so just I want to compare with Ar.Rahman before Roja. He might have done a jingles, a small soap advertisement, done the jingles. But if after Askar, if you go and ask the same jingles person to go to ask Ar.Rahman after Askar, he will object it. So the same thing applies to you, because maybe Askar is a very large scale and comparing, but still it makes a big difference there. So startup, if you're a startup, your approach should be totally different. If you're experienced, the approach should be totally different. So for experienced people, the next slide is mainly for experienced people. How do you grow? How do you grow from, say, about 10 people to 5 people, or say 10 people to 50 people, or 100 people to 100 projects to 500 projects? How do you grow? So that you have to fix a goals for that, targets and goals. You have to fix it. When you're fixing a goal, the goal should be smart goals. We say it is not only architecture; it is generally for all. Any business development person knows what is smart goals. A smart goals means a specific goal, mean for whom you are going targeting, and for why you are targeting this, or what you're going to gain by that. So you have to be very specific about what you need. Then you have to think about measurable, that what you are going to achieve by this, you have to be measurable. I want to design a 10,000 square feet museum, that unless you have the answer for what you need, then nobody knows what you are going to do it. And the achievable should be achievable thing. Like take Usain Bolt, he wants to play in IPL tomorrow. Definitely it's not possible, because it should be achievable for the person who is targeting the goal. So the same thing applies to you. So if you're looking for a project, that should be achievable project for you. You say, I'm going to do one more Vidhan Sabha tomorrow, definitely nobody give it to you. So that should be achievable and realistic. You can't say, I'm going to design a college in air and moon. No, the college has to be designed in either Kogilu or in Rajankunte. So that has to be very realistic. and the time bound. Okay, I'm going to design a stadium when I am 35 years. Or I can't say it is still at my end of my career, I'm going to design it. No, it should be time bound. So this for the larger scale people, that is for 10 years plus people. So unless you have this, your growth, you will not see a lot. Always you will be sitting in same office for at least 10 years without doing a bigger project, a larger projects or a more project. So the goals have to be very, very clear for you. So one more thing is targets. When targets, it's again, it is a common topic, not only architecture, it is what do you say, for everybody to apply. So I want 4 staff to add in 2022, or I want to be an A plus D architectural design cover page by 2022, or I want to drive a Lamborghini by 2030, or I want to minimum 15 project per year in this way 2025. So unless we spell what we needed, what we need in our profession, nobody can help you in long run or short term. Because long run as well as short term, another 5 years, what you want to gain it, or after 50 years, what you're going to gain it. At least you have to spell it out. Then only people can can help you. Okay, you have to go this direction, or you yourself can take you through direction where it can help you. So unless you fix the targets or goals, it's very, very tough for a experienced people to do the business development. The next points, now I'm coming to the general points. Okay, business development, it is not only business development, even the quality have to improve it. So what all things to be noted? So you have to be very thorough on the subject. If a client says, sir, nam kitchen undu 6 ಕಾರ ಸಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, 8 10 ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಈ ಮನೆ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನ್, you should be able to tell so confidently. Then only the client will agree that yes, he's an architect I'm looking for, because he guides me to my house, rather I'm guiding to his design. So we have to be thorough on the subject, not only design, even the materials, even the specification, everywhere you have to be very thorough. And you have to be very unique. The architect, always I tell in class, so client comes to you for a unique, or what do you say, innovative building, rather coming for a good building. A client comes for any architect to get an unique building. So you have to, your solution should be very, very unique in terms of what is ambience and aesthetic, as well as your planning approach as well. So you have to be up to date on technologies and presentation documentation. So today, what is it? Unless I know what is Zoom or what is Microsoft team, I will not be able to give this documentation. I just learned yesterday evening through Siddharth and Snehal how to give the presentation. So you should be much, much faster. I don't want to master on the field, but at least you should know how to give a presentation, how to document it. So these are all very, very important. You have to up to date. You have to be there. And same thing in up-to-date materials, specs, etc. Because the architecture field is growing so fast. So today material, 15 days later will get outdated. That kind of so much material coming, so much going out of the market. So you should be aware about it. What is coming in, what is good, what is not good for your client. Unless you know the what do you say, materials, the specs, or the technology, the client may feel very uncomfortable to deal with you. So learn through skin of the material. This word I heard from Chitra Vishwanathan, one of the architects. She said, how to use this material? She said, you have to go through the skin of the material, then only understand how it is be applied. If another architect tells, because her approach or her perception about the material is totally different from the way you are looking. So you have to learn through the material. So skin of the material learning is very, very important for an architect. So again, the architecture field is an ocean. So I can't list out in about one slide to what to master, what not to master. So it is up to you to learn and to discuss about what you're getting in. So I am coming to the law of average. So I was talking about how do you close some inquiry to deal. So it is not like you are a 10th standard student. If you're studying only the pages which is going to come to the exam, by then within 1 year you can finish at least say 3 classes, and by 9 years you must be finishing your college, and by the time you're 15 years you can finish 3 PhD. So that's not like thing. You study a full book of say about 100 or 200 pages, 300 pages, out of only 10 questions are asked. So the same thing applies to our business development deal as well. The inquiries, whether the deal, it's always like this. So it depends on your quality of design, depends of your age, and depends of your how many gray hairs or no hairs you have in your head. So it depends on that, the average changes. For me, it is 10:3, or for you it may be 10:1. For a leading actor, it can 10:9. So it depends on how many deal you want to close it, that much inquiry you have to get it. So a law average or the probability applies to everybody. So you have to always look for the person who is going to give inquiries and the number of inquiries, rather closing the deal. The deal will comes on its own. Okay. So next comes the specialization niche market. So all the architects today, 15 years back, if you see, if I'm meeting a doctor, I'll say, hi, how are you, doctor? What are you doing? He say, I'm a doctor. That's enough. But today, if we go and ask any doctor, the first question you'll ask it, what do you do it? So as an as a doctor, what are you doing? You're an anesthetist, or you're a pediatrician, or you're a orthopedic. The same things are started applying for 5 years. So no architect, any client comes to you, he say, what is your specialization? What kind of building you're handling? Any, what do you say, a layman also today asks, what kind of building you're handling it? Or can you do a design which is totally a green building, can you design for me? So specialization is very, very must. The moment I say specialization is not doing your, what do you say, your masters. Masters is one aspect, but always in the experience also you can specialize something. So specialization in architecture is much, much important today to create a niche market. Always there is a person to design. If you take a Jay Singh, he has his own type of building. So people who wants to what do you say, vernacular architecture, they go to only set of people. So they create a niche market. So unless you master in the field by experience or by education, the niche market you can't create it. So niche market and specialization very, very important in business development and architecture today. And knowing, again, practicing, it is very simple. Like, I know how to fly a flight, but still I can't fly a flight, because it is not knowing putting a switch to switching on to switch and lifting the lever and turning it, the flight will fly. Anybody can tell it, but how to fly a flight? The same thing applies here. It is not just business development. It is whatever I told, it is applicable tomorrow onward. You can start getting business. No, you have to practice it. You have to practice it. You may fail 100 times, but you will succeed at least one time. That one time we want it. So we need to master the business development and the deal closing. So even today, a Tata, it can be a Tata, it can be Apple, it can be a what do you say, Ambani. They also do the business development. It's not like all the clients come to the Ambani close the deal. No, they also do the business development. They do marketing, and they do their own level of what do you say, marketing level. So mastering is much, much important than knowing what is in business development. So the last but not least, so business development is important. We can't sit idle and say the client to come on your own to you till the what do you say, we get new project. No, that we have to go to the client. But same time we have to remember the business development is not a replacement of quality. Unless you produce a quality designs and the buildings, the client is not going to come back to you. If a bad reference can spoil at least 10 good references. So quality is must. We have to keep on increasing your uniqueness, your design quality, everything has to increase. And hard work cannot be replaced by a business development. You have to work hard. So that also is very important. So I simply can say a purple tiger cannot run for very long, or an empty vessel will be very soon come to know the noise is empty. So this is what I want to tell briefly about business development. Thank you, everyone. If you any question, you can take it.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. So I have few questions with me, sir. I'll like to take those questions.
Yes, please.
The first question is, networking is an integral part of starting a business, and how do we achieve it?
First, it starts from your family, your cousins, your brothers, sisters, your friends. So that's the first round of networking. So always networking, they should not be knowing that you are networking with them for a business. So that should be very sure. So the moment a client or your brother say he's coming for his house, definitely he will not talk to you at all. So networking is something, it comes on its own. You go and start mingling with people. It can be anybody. But over a period of time, that got distilled, because your experience also shares and your circle will get created. So today, after out of college, people may mingle with me with their friends, but their friends are not going to get business because they are competitors now. If KGP comes out and Rahul the same class, they are not going to give business to each other. So they have to mingle with people who can give business, but they should not go and mingle with the people for the business. They should mingle like that, and that project comes on its own.
Yes.
I hope I answered.
Yes, sir. So one more question. In this pandemic situation where social distancing is being followed by people and all are requested to stay at home, how can we develop and establish a contact for a business?
See, today the world is, I can say, by Facebook and LinkedIn, or various platforms are there. So I don't see a person in Facebook. I have actually say about 2,000 friends, out of which at least say 300 I would have seen. But I am doing business at least about 300 people. With those 300, I don't even seen. I have not seen before at all. So Facebook, LinkedIn, all helps a lot. But we have to use it for, what do you say, a progressive way. And COVID situation, something unique. Of course, it's going to end, and that way we have to approach it. But the social networking is much, much easier to get a contact when physically it is not possible to go and meet people.
Yes, sir. So next question is, how do you feel about working to targets?
Can you repeat it again?
How do you feel about working towards targets?
Targets, you said, right?
Yes, sir. Targets.
You see, target, you mean, what does it mean you mean by target? Mean a date target, or as a number of projects target, or the scale target?
Yes, a number of projects targets, or as in how you develop your business, you set up a different targets for your business. So how can one, think about those?
See, one example I'll take it. Say, if you are saying I want to get at least say 3 projects by end of this year, say another 6 months is there. So 3 projects I need it. So for 3 projects, how many inquiries you have to get it? That as a person, as a profession, you know better than anybody else. For me, I need a 3 projects. I need at least about 10 inquiries. I need it. So for 10 inquiries, how many people you have to meet? Or 10 inquiry, I have to read how many newspaper? Or for 10 inquiry, what all the what do you say, people have, what type of people have to meet? Okay, target again, to be specific, I want a school, I want to design a CBSE school end of this year. So you have to meet those kind of people who are related to the CBSE. It can be a school consultants, it can be a software provider for the school, it can be a what do you say, a transport provider for the school. If your uncle being a transport provider, definitely he can connect to a school client. So target specifically the number apart from the type of project. You can meet those kind of people. So 10 people may give say about 5 inquiries, and 5 inquiry can lead to one deal. So back calculation, you want 3 projects, so you have to meet at least say about 15 inquiry, you have to get at least say 50 people you meet. So the more you meet people, you more network. Definitely that leads to your deal closes as well as more inquiries.
Yes, sir. So one more question. During the course of architecture, what skills students should work on, which will help them in future?
See, architecture education and the gap between the practice and the education is widening. It was very less when we came out of college. We were straight away we were going to field and we started working. Now today, the technology what we have been taught, it is, yes, it's keep on increasing. The way the construction methods and everything increasing, but it is not going at par with the speed of the actual construction. The interior design, especially if you take. Today we get a veneer of say 0.05 micron thickness that were not available even about a week back. But that education to come, it will take another 5 years. So what to specialize is, apart from the education, as always we say, go to library and read magazines. More than the old books, read magazines for the materials and the technologies and the way the new, what do you say, the Western architect, they approach a building, the way we approach a building, totally different. How they are approaching. So if you adopt the same thing here, you will be definitely going to stand out of other. So you have to be much updated through either online media. So many what do you say, books are available. Always the magazines are available for us. So you keep your eyes and ears open. Definitely the students can get more get updated towards the current scenario.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So one more interesting question I have with me. I think most of them will have this question. So
Yeah.
question is, my relations or friends approach me for a residence proposal or any
Mhm.
project. Should I insist on retention amount first or just give the proposal? Will it be like giving out a free design?
No, definitely no.
Yes.
Definitely no.
Yeah.
You say,
Oh,
okay, I got your inquiries. I have a very beautiful solution for you. So why don't you get into an agreement that this is what my fee going to be? You're going to pay this so much. The moment the client says I'm going to even 100 rupees, he's going to pay. He will count at 100 rupees. If you give free of cost, he will keep it on site. We will see it later. It will happen. Even let it be 1,000 rupees, doesn't matter. But you take as a student, they have to learn to work for money, because end of the day we don't have a what do you say, a brick, we don't have a trowel in hand to build a house for them. We have only a drawing. So that is our saleable asset. So unless you go and ask, the client is not going to pay the money. You have to be very shrewd in this. Sir, it is anything you do, it's free of cost. Oh, I'm going to say not free of cost. So as a help, you're doing a friend who is a good contractor, for he's getting at least 100 projects for you. He's asking, sir, can you help me? That is different. You know that's a help. You may not get the business at all there. That you can do it. We also do. I'm not saying at all the projects I get the money, but we also do it. But when a new client comes and you are very sure that he's going to do the project, please ask the money. Then only it comes.
yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Looks like I've taken most of the questions. And now I may request our principal, Dr. K. Ganesh Babu sir, to speak a few words.
Sure.
Thank you, Snehal and Rajkumar, for the very, very crisp and beautiful way of expressing your experience of 17 plus years. I am sure any architect who has practiced beyond 10 years will give 100% marks for you. It matches with the profession, how the practice is. To be a little bit elaborate on the last question, because this is, as Snehal also told, this is going to be the question for every graduating student. Whether he's graduating or not is second. He may be in architecture, he may be in the third year, or he may be in the fourth year. Moment people come to know your cousin or friend or whoever is doing architecture, this problem arises. And it's a big oscillation between relationship and business, where I think it's a good education for the younger generation, people who are actually graduating today. That some people who are little soft cornered will feel how to ask their money. They feel very sensitive to say no, you have to pay or get into agreement. But I like the way you strongly emphasized that get into an agreement, give them a hint that there is going to be a payment behind the service. Because if that does not start on day one, I'm sure I have experience. I've also experienced. I have a lot of friends of mine, people who have shared with me. It will never start because one relation will go to the another, second, third, fourth, and if you try to charge the fourth relation, who would be a cousin, whatever it is, it will come back to the first. You have done a service for my elder brother, whatever it is. You didn't charge. Why are you charging me? So at a later date, it becomes a very sensitive issue. So I like the way you emphasize that, and I hope all students are prepared to understand this and take this well inside. I'm sure all of students would have already been working. Yes, see, to satisfy your relationship, do not sacrifice that money. Rather, give them better service. See, you want to have the relationship. For that, the justification would be not compromise on money, but provide an extra service. Give them another, one or two options extra, better attention to their project. That will help them. Rather than not taking money, what will happen is you will be sort of degrading yourself, which you will not know now. Today, when you're starting a project, you will all be, kicked up that, you got a project and it's a huge project and all these things. Today, you may not know the value of your service, but later, you will feel that, you'll be degrading yourself among that circle. So that's a very nice and valid point. I appreciate that. Then you were talking about this.
I'd like to add one thing. See, in my experience, the client who pays with the open mind, the relationship lasting long. The client who pays the money, the relationship ends. So paying clients are always good, not only for us, for themselves. So unless the client, if he says, sir, 2 lakhs, better leave the job and don't come, don't do that project. If a client says, okay, 2 lakhs, no problem, you can reduce 10,000 for me, no problem, that you can do it. So there's for the relationship, we have to give the respect. But the client who says, I will not pay or I will pay only this much, then better leave there and you can look for at least another 4 inquiries. That's what I can say.
There is another sort of body language in this. It's not a body language, it is a trade language. There will be so many people who come and ask schemes. They will have a site. Of course, everybody has got a site today. The moment they know that you're a startup, they will come and ask for options. I want to build, can you give me a design? Now, it's very important for, the young startups to judge the genuinity of that client. That will happen only when that 100 rupees comes out of their pocket. If they are not ready to, 100 means I'm just telling you a ratio, 1,000 rupees. You ask them, okay, 5,000 rupees as a down payment. Then they'll start thinking whether I should do this, get the option or not. If it is a genuine client, he will say, okay, not 5,000, 2,000, 3,000, I will pay. Okay, that's okay, not a problem. If not a genuine client, he will say, oh yeah, let me think over and come. So that is another trade language I think people have to learn. See, these are experiences what we have learned across 20 years, 20, 25 years, 15 years. Given to you people like a cake. So please take that. Try to, and it's really appropriate. This graduating batch in our college coming out, looking for opportunities, whether to stick on to firms, start their practice. It is a very good, session for them to take a glimpse of this. And also another point, the art of closing the deal. It was a great thing. So now between this art of closing the deal and commencement of project, there is a huge gap. It happens only in civil engineering, may not be much in interior design, because interior design you have everything ready and you just have to start off. But civil engineering, when you have to start with the foundation, it takes so much of time. So please be cautious. Because your scheme is approved, don't think project it will come by magic tomorrow. No. After that, it has to go for approval, it has to go for budgeting, it has to go to bank for loan, then it has to come back to contractor for a rating. This cycle will take minimum 3 to 4 months. Then the day when you start the borewell, the neighbor will come and sit as a litigation. Out of 10 projects, I'm sure any office will have at least 2 projects. 20% will be, at a stake. So this is another, tricky thing where people should not get dodged. See, a startup company, if they have, say, about 5 projects on hand, you can take about 2 projects as revenue generating projects. Other 3 projects is for next year. Whether it will come immediately, not know. So for you to have a strong office and staff strength, you need at least about 40 projects, 40 to 50 projects on hand. So 10 projects will be active. So this is okay about building relationships and profession. I think it was a great session, Rajkumar. Beyond this, I think if I stretch it, I may not do justice to your presentation. Wonderful session. I appreciate your way of expressing things. Thank you for being on the platform, and hand over to Snehal for the conclusion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. To run a successful practice or a business along with thorough knowledge, one must have all the vital skills required to develop the business. And in your today's presentation, it was very aptly explained. Thank you, Architect Rajkumar, sir, for an insightful, stimulating presentation. I thank all the dignitaries for their valuable time. We want to take a movement and pay our endless gratitude to all the frontline warriors and healthcare workers for their self-sacrificing commitment, unwavering responsibility and courage amidst the crisis. All of us at AAAD are very grateful to the people who are risking their life and working tirelessly to help our communities sail safe. Let us thank the Almighty for giving us strength and keeping us safe at this time of pandemic. Thank you, Principal Dr. Ganesh Babu sir, for constant support and encouragement. I would like to extend my regards to management and team AAAD for all the support. Thank you, Architect Senthil Kumar and Architect Siddhartha, webinar coordinator, Architect Harshita, broadcasting coordinator. I would also like to thank all the participants. See you all tomorrow with some exciting session. Wish you all a great evening. Stay home and stay safe. Thank you.